Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today, the Duff Dog and I are gonna work on a Chevrolet ice cream truck.
What?
Just kidding. 1979 Ford 3/4 ton four-wheel drive. It's outside, it's super windy, it's super cold. So let's cut back to the footage when I picked up this $700 hot rod this summer when it was significantly warmer. And in the meanwhile, I'm gonna hook Bernie up to this POS and roll it outside, and then we'll hook it up to the Ford and get that rolled inside. Or maybe we'll use the Bobcat. Oh, you want to use Bernie? All right, Bernie it is. I guess we better clean up a mess and recover a Cyclops before we roll anything back on here. Now we got this thing inside where it's significantly quieter and warmer. Let's take a look at this thing. First thing you'll notice is the square headlights. This has got to be a 1979, right? Wrong, this thing was built January 1978. Now could this F250 have been built in 1978 with round headlights and somebody put square headlights in it? Yes, absolutely, but everybody loves to argue that they didn't make square headlights in 1978. I am a firm believer that square headlights came out in 1978, and you guys can argue down in the comment section all you want, but we're calling this thing a 1978. It does, however, have a slight identity crisis. You see over here on the passenger side, it's an F250 Ranger. However, on the driver's side, it's an F250 Custom. So clearly something's up with this pickup, or Ford got lazy and forgot which decals to put on either side of the pickup. So the story on this pickup is a gentleman who I've dealt with in the past. We actually got the 78 Camaro. He found that for me. He said he knew this thing sitting around town. He called the guy. He said, yeah, I'd love to get rid of it. So 700 bucks loaded on the trailer. It is mine. They were doing some body work on it. They gave up on it. I haven't heard it run. I'm thinking it's gonna run pretty easily. So let's take a look at this thing and see if we can't get it running. We're missing one of those square headlights, and the retaining ring is missing as well, no doubt. It's got a chrome bumper. I do believe you could get these with painted bumpers as well. She's a hybrid. You can tell by the way that it is.
You can tell that it's a
hybrid
because of the way it is.
I do really like this green. Somebody knocked a dent out in the hood there. Got a few cracks in the windshield, and the wipers are also missing. Got some aftermarket chicken chasers on the roof and a CB antennae whip. It's got mismatched wheels and tires, but they're pretty aggressive. 265, 75, R16. We got a Mastercraft Corsair on this corner. We got a Chaparral AT steel radio on this corner that's not quite as good as the rest of them. Also, it's got a round hole black spoke wheel. I don't know what you call it, a mod wheel, something like that. And on this corner we got a Hankook Dynamic Mud Terrain 235 85 16. And the other three are mounted on these beautiful white spokes with chrome matching lug nuts. Oh yeah. Remember how I said they were doing some body work? Check this out. This thing's actually pretty decent, and that's probably why the body guy started with it. Well, I don't know that they were a body guy or that they were a guy. So carry on. Front fender is actually really nice. It's missing the antennae. Does look like there was a stainless strip that was supposed to go in the windshield rubber that's missing. Looks like it's had a few different mirror options over the years, judging by all the screws in the door. Little bit of rust down here in the passenger door. We got some Weston chrome diamond plate steps. Here's where they patched a little bit of rust above the passenger rear wheel. They actually replaced the support at the back of the bed here, but they never got to patching the side of the bed. Maybe they did a little sand in there. They got the marker lights and the tail lights out. And actually, the bed bolts are out as well. They didn't give us a tailgate, unfortunately. Check out that tow bumper though. Custom safety chain hooks. You got a 5/16 high test on this side, and then a little 1/4 inch high test on the other side. And a tiny little 1 7/8 ball. Just kidding, that's a perfectly normal size ball. It's even got the rubber pads built into the tow bumper. You can see they did fix a little rust below the taillight on the driver's side, and a little bit there as well. It's got the dual tank option. Missing the gas door, and we still got to bolt that up there. Patch that same rust above the wheel on the driver's side. And then this bed must not have been a dual tank bed. I think they cut it apart to make it a dual tank option. Who knows? So maybe this entire cab and body was swapped onto a different chassis. We're gonna have to figure that out. Need to put the front fuel filler neck in place as well. It's got the deluxe sliding rear window for throwing all your empties in the bed. Somebody got the cab corner in and even started doing a little mudding, but they never got to sanding it down. This driver's door is a little bit better, but it's still got some rust in the corners. Same multi-mirror option on this side. Oh, these doors open and close so good compared to a Chevrolet. We're missing a door panel over here. Looks like they got a custom door handle as well. Ooh, oil pressure gauge, custom. Yellow floors, custom. Bucket seats, custom. Headliner, delete. I really do like this green with green interior. She's a sweet unit. I'm guessing it's supposed to be a custom. She is a 4-speed, and obviously is a 4-wheel drive. Looks like there's a little hot wire action going on here. I don't know what these jumper wires are about or why the keys are laying loose, but at least we got keys. For a key customer experience, go to Miller Motors, Dodge, Chrysler, and Plymouth. I believe that's in Valley City, North Dakota. Looks like we're missing the ashtray. Got the AM radio. Got the hook for the CB on the dash. Maybe somebody swapped a glove box, but it says custom on the glove box, so we're assuming that it should be a custom. We do have the door panel on the passenger side, however. 3-point seat belts, sweet. Hey, there's our headlight ring, battery hold down, some tail lights, some wiring, a rear view mirror, speakers. Oh yeah. No tilt. Tech tip of the day, on the Fords they don't have a separate lever for the tilt. You got to pull back on the turn signal switch, and that'll get your column to tilt if you got a tilt. That must be the light switch for the chicken chasers. Who knows what that wire's for. Looks like we got 71,478 on the clock. So here's what I'm thinking on this thing. We get it running, paint that wheel back there, maybe grind some welds, smooth out the body filler back there, put the tail lights in there, marker lights, and just send this thing on down the road, because we already got the 71 Ford 4-wheel drive that doesn't get enough love around here. We don't need 2 of them. Although it would be kind of nice to have a 4-speed and a 3/4 ton. Why a 3/4 ton? I don't know. Also, 1978, not a highboy. 77 on down, 3/4 tons. Highboys. Divorce transfer case. Highboy. Stop calling these things highboys. Go have that argument down below. But 77 on down, 3/4 ton, 4-wheel drive, divorce transfer case. That's a highboy. Stop calling my 71 Ford half-ton a highboy. Duff's out doing Duff shenanigans, so I'm gonna have to open this hood myself. Must be out playing with Jackie Chan. Duff! Come open this hood for me! Are you enjoying the nice weather? It's really not that nice. You look cold. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Open the Ford hood. Yeah. Never mind the Mopar that doesn't have a hood. No, this streak of coolant is not from the Ford. It's from that silly ice cream truck. Tech tip of the day, make sure you got compression before you do a bunch of work to an engine. Ooh, we got a battery even. So, looks like 11 of 17 the battery's from, so it was at least running in the last 8 years. I believe that is a modified, so a 351M or a 400. It's got a lot of paint on the engine, like it's been overhauled. It's got the Ford electronic ignition. Looks like a 2-barrel carburetor, which is pretty standard on these. Got a newer radiator. You can tell it's a new radiator by the way that it says checked on the side. No flexi hoses. The same guy who mounted the mirrors also patched up the old fan shroud. That is a lot of screws. They're not even matching. I'm not mad. In fact, I'm impressed.
It's actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Oh boy, some washers, little glue involved. Nothing but the finest. Is that some chrome door edge trim that's also keeping you from getting cut on the fan shroud? Oh, it gets better on this side. Good grief. Make sure we don't lean on that thing later. She is a power steering unit. Never mind this West of Highway 281 coolant overflow tank that's a gallon of antifreeze that is held in place with rope. Oh, or is it a 79? That grill is stamped F579. Does have power brakes as well. Let's clean this up, see if this thing's gonna tell us what this engine is. Do we really care? No, not really. Oh yeah, she's a 400. Well, it's the 400 family anyway. We got ourselves a hot rod, Duff. Should we hook that battery up, see what happens? We might not even need a battery sponsor this week. Let's check the coolant on our 400 and the oil. Lots of green coolant. All right, dipstick Jimmy, what is going on here? It's got brand new oil and it's all the way to the full mark. Look at this. I don't know what's going on. We got 2 hose clamps, 1 worm drive, and 1 constant tension clamp. I don't know if that's holding it together or what, but it's got oil in it, so good enough for the girls we go with. Make sure the 4-speed's out of gear. Oh, we get a light on. No way. I probably could have drove this thing home, or at least drove it on the back of the rollback. Since this is electronic ignition, we don't have to worry about points to flick. No mouse nest in there, that's nice. What is this, aluminum? Nice. Could polish that up. Go fast Ford things. Let's give her a little hot sauce. See what happens. Oh dear, crawling underneath to set up the exhaust pipe cam. Very nice, that's an old thrush, and it is also held up with a ratchet strap. Oh wait, I put that on there because I was worried about the bed flying off. Never mind, carry on. It is, however, a thrush, so that's pretty neat. Here we go, slingshot engaged.
Slingshot engaged.
We got 32 pounds of oil pressure. I did hear something clatter though. Maybe just needs a little pump action. Duff, it wanted to go. We're real close to going for an RIDE, but I think we got a fuel delivery issue. Let's go grab some more hot sauce and trickle down in there and hopefully get the fuel pump to pull something out of the tank. Maybe the tanks aren't hooked up. Maybe I'm wasting my time, but let's be honest. We all know I'm wasting my time and you guys are probably wasting your time by watching. Just kidding. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. Duff, tell them thanks. Be appreciative to the nice people on the internet. Without them, you'd have to go back to the puppy mill where you came from. Just kidding. You never were in a puppy mill, were you? You never talk about that kind of stuff. Could have been. More hot sauce. Thought it would run longer with the fuel that was in the bowls, but you know, 400. Take a lot of fuel, all that horsepower. Try her again. We are clearly not getting any fuel, so let's lift this thing up in the air and figure out what's going on. If we're out of fuel, which tank is hooked up, if a tank is even hooked up, and then we'll also get to look at how slopped out the bottom of this thing is. Considering it came from west of 281, it was likely a ranch pickup and everything's about bent in half. Let's get a better look at the bottom side of this hot rod. Somebody did a little painting over here. I could tell by the overspray, but somebody did a little patchwork on these spring mounts as well. Looks like they did a pretty decent job though, at least. Sure looks like a Dana 44 to me. You can tell by the way it says 44 right there. Looks like it's got a newer starter in it. Yeah, that oil pan's all painted up, engine's all painted up. I'm guessing somebody's been in there at one point. What is the brand of that? I can't even tell what brand that oil filter is. Ford's infamous power steering cooler. Hey, let's just take some lines and loop them around the lower cross member. Somebody improved it by adding a few zip ties all in place though. New shocks, blue in color. Surely the power steering has never leaked, judging by all the crud on the frame rail. I don't know about you, but I like to tie a knot in my ground cable before I hook it to the frame. Drive shaft? Slopped out? No. Got the 435 4-speed. Oh man, they got the white letters in on the Mastercrafts. What a shame. Oh my, is that galvanized pipe for the exhaust? Oh yeah. When you need some exhaust pipe, just go to your kid's swing set. The old Thrush single. So you can tell this is a highboy because the transfer case is attached directly to the transmission. Divorced means that there would be a drive shaft in between the transmission and the transfer case. Does look like she's leaking out of that cover a little bit though. Somebody's been in there recently and scraped a bunch of grease off it, however. How slopped out is this one in the splines? Not too bad. So here's our front tank. Looks like the skid plate's seen a little bit of action, but not too bad. And here is the rear tank. They got that one tucked up nice and high, so you can't really bang that one up. You gotta try. Speaking of power steering cooling, check out these brake cooling loops that they got on the brake line over here on the passenger side. That's when you know a cowboy owned this truck. Ah, they only put new shocks on the front. Still got the OG rusty white ones back here. Good grief, the pinion seal ain't even leaking. Usually they got a bunch of baling twine wrapped around this stuff and took the seal right out. Rear sway bar for all the towing capabilities. So here's our selector valve that goes in between tanks. And look at that nice blue fuel line without clamps on it even. Nothing but the finest. So you mean to tell me this is the selector valve, so you got a line coming from that tank to the selector valve, and you got a line coming from the tank way up there back to here, and then a line that goes up to the fuel pump. Why wouldn't they put that by the front tank? Ford. If I were a fuel pump on a 400, where would I be? Not on that side of the block. Oh my word. Look at all that tub and tile. Oh, that's how you know it's sealed up good. Use all the white Shmoo DD Speed Shop. Found the fuel pump and it's got a line hooked up to it. Let's unhook that line and blow air back through it and see where it goes to. So that's another option. It could have gas in it, but it could be not gas anymore. It could be bad gas, old gas. Could have a tank full of water, who knows? Give me the fuel hose. Got it. Now I'm gonna unhook the line back at that selector valve and we'll see if we can blow air all the way through, and then we'll check to see which tank the selector valve is pulling from. So we know this line goes to the rear tank. Why didn't they just run a rubber hose from there to there? Why did we need this little splice in there? Silliness. So I'm guessing this one comes from the front tank, and this one coming out this side goes to the fuel pump, and then that selector just pivots between that guy and that guy. Right? Let's check. Well, all we gotta do is unhook it to find out. Oh my goodness. Blue fuel hose, come on guys. I think this stuff is meant for aquariums. I'm gonna go blow on that fuel hose that we unhooked at the fuel pump. Hopefully we get some air or fuel or rust or something coming out of that. Here we go. Okay, cool, we got air coming out there. Now let's take these crappy blue lines off of this thing and see which one the selector is sending fuel from. What is this stuff? So terrible. It's probably a good thing it didn't have any fuel in it. This stuff would have rotted out. Once we figure out which one of these it's getting fuel from, we can go check the selector inside and make sure that they're hooked up properly. Otherwise, we can just leave it as is and hook it up to whichever fuel tank we choose, but the selector might be wrong in the cab. It's coming out of that one right there. Check this out. What did they do? Glue that panel on? Looks like they overlapped it by about a ½ inch and then glued it in place and then welded it. Oh, DD Shmoo. Used all the colors. Looks like there's some black Shmoo up there too. Like you couldn't just butt weld it or lap weld it. You had to put glue in there too. Look at that. There's red stuff even, or orange. Orange, black, and yellow. Oh, this is what would happen if DD Speed Shop ran a body shop. Just all the schmoos. Imagine if you ran a mechanic shop. Gross. What in the heck? Ugh, honestly, it's like embarrassing. They just used all the leftover Shmoo to glue the panels on, I guess. Look at how nice these floors and rockers are, though. This thing's good. Super solid. Anyway, let's inspect a couple fuel tanks. The plot thickens. I do believe the selector for the fuel tank should be right here. It should be front and rear, but there's nothing. Maybe that's what that switch is for. I bet it is. That's why it says aux and main. Anyway, we're not gonna mess with it. We're just gonna leave it where it's at. That's what I've learned with fuel selector valves. Don't touch them, just leave them be. So yeah, that makes me believe that somebody either added this fuel tank or swapped this entire single tank body onto a dual tank chassis, and that's where they added the fuel door up here. Personally, if I was gonna add a fuel door, I would just add the fuel door, not cut a third of the box side out, but what do I know? Look at these welds though. I think DD Speed Shop was definitely here between the Shmoo and the welds. That's good stuff. Like, how can you not just weld that? Just mud it in. I'm no welder, and I could have done that. And then they got some plug welds, and then they got some lap welds, and then they got some JB welds. Good stuff. Get the schlong out. You gonna come check it out, Duff? Haven't used this since we inspected some cylinders on a Gen 1 Hemi and a 68 Barracuda, Duff. You missed out on that trip. Go check that video out on the second channel if you haven't seen it yet. We actually walked away from something. Not very often that happens. We just encountered a new problem. So even if the fuel tank works, I don't know how we're gonna get fuel in it because, let me show you. So there's our fuel filler neck and there's our fuel filler hose, and see how they just let it hang down there? And the hose is all kinked off, so it's probably not gonna wanna take fuel very well. But Mortske, there's 2 tanks. Just use the front tank. Nope, the same guy worked on this one and let that hose get all kinked up. Never mind the splice that they put on the fuel filler neck. Did they just paint asbestos on there? I hope that's what that is. Tastes delicious. So there's no way I would have fished the schlong down in there. I don't know what we're gonna do now. We gotta get that hose to take some shape so that we can get some fuel in there. The crap you run into in this stuff. It's always something. All right, I'm committing to the rear tank. We're just gonna hope it's good. Maybe I can massage that fuel filler hose into a round fuel accepting shape. Poor decisions were made. I blew some air in there, and apparently that cap is not vented, so all of the fuel, well, what was in there, or whatever it is, fuel, I don't know what it is, it came out. Let's not strike any matches anytime soon. I'm gonna go ahead and hook this fuel tank up to the pickup and see if we can't get some gas in there and get this thing running off the rear tank. Here we go, we got our sweet blue aquarium hose coming to our steel elbow, going to a brand new chunk of made in Mexico Gates hose that goes all the way up to the fuel pump. So we're just bypassing this solenoid for now, because why not? Also, not really sure how this works. It's got 1 wire going back to it. So how does that make your fuel gauge correct when you flip tanks? I'm guessing this is aftermarket and not factory Ford stuff, but anyway, 1 tank, that's the one we're using. What do we determine? These things don't pump uphill that great, so we need to set this on something. Let's see what happens. On. Fill the tank. Do the thing. I'll brag you up. Perfect. I really like these things. Except for, I think we were working on the 67 Chevy pickup, and they're all high uphill. We had to pump it, but it didn't work for that. Anyway, link in the video description. Not a paid promotion. Get them off Amazon. They're affordable, and they save your back and a lot of spills. And if we can prevent 1 spill around here a day, that's a huge improvement, because we spill a lot. Well, it's not running out, aka spilling, and it's actually going in the tank, it sounds like. So we might be onto something. So this thing's got a sensor in the end. If it was restricted enough in the fuel filler neck, this thing would kick out, and it's not. So I don't know if it's gonna fill at a high flow pump in town, but I guess you'll just have to pump it into this 6-gallon can and then use your electric pump to fill the tank from there. Or put a new fuel filler hose on it. That's what needs to be done when you want to own this thing. Price and availability in the video description. We're not keeping this thing. This thing's gonna go away. A bunch of people have asked, and I'm sure they're gonna be like, you want XYZ price for that, but you only paid $700. You're right, but that's the power of capitalism. You gotta make money doing this. That rollback doesn't run on unicorn farts, and also we gotta heat this place and keep the lights on and pay everybody's salaries around here. So yeah, go buy a car from us. Go check out the cars at mortskerepair.com. Everything, price and availability, is in the video description of the perspective videos, but we also have them all listed at mortske.com. So go ahead and check that out. Buy a car, help us out, because we need all the help we can get right now. Buy this one, better yet. So many people wanted to see the, in previous video we kind of showed this thing in the background, and so many people were like, oh, I want the Ford, how much for the Ford? And now we'll put a price on it and it'll be all crickets, because that's how it goes. So like, oh, I thought you'd sell that thing for $400. Yeah, in that case, we'll keep it around and keep a spare $400 for the old 71. There we go, let's put a little hot sauce in the carburetor, see if this thing will suck fuel from the tank. Whoops, we spill a lot. I don't believe that this cap is vented, but it says Motorcraft on it. Oh, it says vacuum, so what does that mean? Vacuum and pressure. Maybe we just put it on upside down, and that's what created the vacuum when we blew air in there. When this thing dies on the side of the road, remind me to open the cap and see if we got some vacuum in there. Controlled spill, that's all a carburetor is, right? Apparently we're not picking up the fuel yet. Why are we not picking up fuel? Let's try blowing a little air in the fuel tank and hopefully that'll prime the fuel pump. Maybe we got a bad fuel pump, maybe the filter's plugged, maybe I plumbed something wrong, who knows. Somebody gave me a tech tip and they said, get yourself a tennis ball and then you cut a hole in the tennis ball on both sides, slide that over there, and then you just push the tennis ball in the hole to seal that up. And that's a brilliant idea, but I haven't got a tennis ball yet. Duff doesn't do the tennis balls. Give her a tickle of the hot sauce and try it again. Yes, I know the Ford is very disappointing. We just got to get fuel up the carburetor, then we should be able to go for a ride. Yeah? Okay. I'll keep working at it. Let's disconnect this fuel hose here. See if we can get fuel up to there anyway. I'm gonna blow a little air in there and hopefully we get some fuel coming up here. Nothing. What if we blow back this way? I guess we're gonna move further back down the line. I got the ADHD real bad. I see something shiny and I gotta go check it out. Check this out. So I was playing around with the hubs. It was set to lock, so I cranked her over to free because, you know, this thing's free as a bird. And then I was moving the wheel to see if the axle would turn, see if it was actually working. Which it is. Axle's not turning. But I don't think that brake caliper is supposed to do that. Let me grab my screwed by Mortske repair magnetic screwdriver. Get yours at mortske.com. Also functions as a pointer. There's supposed to be a little shim in there that keeps tension on that. It's almost a spring. Spring steel goes in there, keeps tension on that. We're missing that. What we're not missing is a giant stack of wheel weights. Pretty common with these big tires. That little shim should be there. See this side, oh, it's got minimal play. I don't think it should have any play, but we're definitely missing that on the other side. Always something. I think this is a high pinion Dana 44. It looks like it's flipped upside down. The pinion comes in the top, right? I don't know. Not a big four-wheel drive guy, but I'd call that a high pinion if there was such a thing. Well, we got fuel to the fuel pump. Oh boy, running down my sleeve. Aww, we're gonna need a new shirt. Dang it. Sure, as soon as I find my pincher offers, it quits running. Whew! My arm is wet and cold and very flammable. So does that mean we got a bad fuel pump? I think so. Good news is, since the 71 has a 400 modified in it, for some reason I have a 400 modified fuel pump on the shelf, so let's swap that out real quick. Let me show you how I know. Loser switch. Finger on the fuel pump inlet. I should get suction on my finger. Nothing. And that starter is really loud by my right ear. Hopefully this fuel pump alleviates the issue and Duff and I can go for our maiden test drive. These things are silly. They got that big silly long arm. Hopefully the lobe isn't warm out the camshaft because that can cause it too. I've never run into that, but I've heard about it. But usually the bolt pattern is on the sides of the fuel pump, left and right, not top and bottom. Leave it to Ford. There you go, one 400 Ford fuel pump removed. I'm guessing the diaphragm inside there, which is rubber, rotted away. And if it's rotted away, got a crack in it, it's no longer gonna create vacuum to pump fuel. Also looks like it's the exact same as our replacement, and that's what you like to see when you're putting replacement parts on, because usually they don't fit when they're not the same part. Uh-oh. It definitely makes suction when I pump it by hand. Son of a biscuit. Got a worn lobe on the camshaft so that it's not stroking this thing fully. That would be my luck. Well, let's throw a new one on there and see what happens. Anyway, I'm gonna grab my super scraper. I'm gonna use the old SS5, get yours at mortske.com, to clean up the mating surface, and we'll throw a new gasket on there and a new fuel pump, and hopefully everything works fantastically, even though I'm kind of concerned, seeing how we pump that one and it makes noise and makes suction. What do I know? For reference, here's what the new one sounds like. Here's the old one. So I'd say the new one sounds healthier, and I'm sticking with it. It's gonna fix it. I just thought about it. These don't have an eccentric built into the camshaft. These run off of a lobe that bolts onto the timing chain, I believe. So if you already yelled at the computer monitor, you can take that back. Better yet, I can't wait to read all the comments down below. You idiot, it's not a lobe on the camshaft on a modified. It's a lobe that bolts onto the timing cover. Learn your Fords. Sorry, try harder next time. Here we go, I'm gonna crank it over again with the loser switch, put my finger over the inlet, and hopefully we get some vacuum on there. If not, I'm gonna throw things. Just like on the real TV shows. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got suction.
We suck again!
It wasn't the worst fuel pump I've ever installed, but it also wasn't the easiest. The one nice thing that they do about these things is place the cross member and the differential, everything in the way, so you can't see what you're doing. Just kidding. But actually what they do is they have a bolt in the top and a stud on the bottom, and then the bottom of the fuel pump is notched like so. So you just drop that over the stud, put it up in place, start the top bolt. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So good work on putting the stud there, Ford. Bad work on putting the cross member and the differential right in the way. Let's see if we can't get some fuel to come out of the fuel line when we crank it over here. Put a little hot sauce in the carburetor and get it running. Maybe that'll pick it up faster. Save on our starter anyway. We got fuel now. Everywhere. It's like 11 fuel leaks in this process already. I'm gonna go grab a new chunk of fuel hose because this stuff here is stiff as a brick. Oh, hey, look, more aquarium hose. Maybe we'll just get rid of that as well. Silly kids. Also, shouldn't there be a filter screwed into the front of the carburetor instead of just a barbed fitting and not one of these inline? Both ends of the spectrum here. This stuff is super flexible. No need for a hose clamp, apparently. And this stuff you can barely bend. Duff said, check that filter. I think we're gonna put a new filter on it. Holy cripes. Just keeps coming. It's like a pepper shaker. Wow. That's not good for the home team. Hopefully that rust was just developed in the fuel filter and didn't come from the fuel tank that we're using. Yeah, we're not that lucky. Now normally there would be a fuel filter with a pipe thread fitting that threads in the front of the carburetor, but somebody already bypassed that and used a barb fitting. I'm gonna run this plastic fuel filter so that way we can see what's going on in there and see if we're getting a bunch of rust in there. Now let's crank it over and see if this sucker fills up with fuel now. It should. There we go. But will it stay running on its own? Maybe a little fine tuning. All right, let's turn up the idle speed just a hair. Check out how much oil pressure this thing's got.
Check out how terrible that exhaust sounds.
Frickin' 63 pounds at idle. Hey, the fuel gauge might even be working. Apparently we got brake issues. We should probably check that. Oh, did you think I was gonna go for an RIDE without you? I would never do that with my goodest boy. So I wonder if that's why they parked it, because it needed a fuel pump, or just went bad from sitting. We may never know. Aluminum air cleaners, of all the things. At least they weren't making bodies out of aluminum back then. Alright, let's check brake fluid. Front reservoir's empty, back reservoir's half full. This ought to fix it. Never mind that there's a leak somewhere in the rear system. And probably one in the front. The real question is, how does the brake pedal feel? Well, feels like brakes. Kinda. Wonder when it was last serviced. Looks like November 19th, 1996, it had 15,436 on it. 71,000. Yeah. Hopefully somebody's changed the oil since then. Well, it's got new oil in it. We saw that. We'll just put that back in place for the next guy. Is that not mounted? Oh, it's just mounted on the outside. Perfect. Wouldn't expect anything less. And the dome light works. What a deal. How about the radio? Well, I suppose they don't have an antenna anyway. Fan? Sweet. I know, we only got one headlight. We should probably go for a rip before it gets dark, huh? Test this thing out. Should we put some more gas in? Nah. We go for a ride or what? Load up, let's go. I can already tell you this. These seats are stiff and they sit too high. And it needs a handle to pull the door closed. Window works. I'm gonna try to adjust this mirror. Seems like we don't have it on the windshield. I love when you see doors of these old farm trucks and all the paint's worn off from guys driving around hanging their arm out the door. Probably should have checked to see if the clutch worked on Duff. Oh, that exhaust is so bad. Man, your hand is right into the dash in first gear. Hey, we got a clutch. Hope we don't hit any bumps or my head's gonna go through the roof. Good thing we don't have a headliner. Hey, we got brakes. Now we gotta turn that idle down. Let's make a lap around the yard. We'll see just how she works. She got any pep? Oh yeah. Kicking up dust with the old 400. Let's throw a can of gas in the back just for S's and G's. Yep, definitely got the idle too high. Power steering works good. Brakes, I think, need some bleeding. Clutch seems good. Duff's camera fell off. What's that? Power steering whining, Duff? Oh boy. That guy's vehicle is louder than ours. That's pretty bad. Pretty short test drive. Definitely something in the front end. Is it that hub of being half locked in, half locked out? I didn't get her set to full freedom. Oh. I got a feeling it might be the old Speedo cable. It's going backwards. I'm gonna shimmy under the dash, disconnect that, and we'll see what happens. Yep, too high idle. There we go. You want to film me as I crawl under the dash and unhook the Speedo? Yeah, you'd love that. Okay, Speedo cable is disconnected. I had to disconnect it from the transfer case because I could not get my arm up there to hook underneath the Speedo. Also, did not slow down the idle speed. Got my handy dandy Mortske little black notebook so I can write down all the things we find wrong with this thing so I remember to fix them when we get back to the shop. Speedo no longer works, but it also is no longer making noise. Oh yeah, way better. Rides like a 3/4 ton though. Little wind noise, that's pretty typical. What do you think, Duff? Pretty sweet. I think this thing's worth putting some door seals in. Put a muffler on it. It's gonna be quiet. It's actually really solid rust-wise. Pretty much cut out all the existing rust and patched it. These floors are in a phenomenal shape. Good brakes, good downshift, terrible suspension. Everybody gets so excited for these highboys. I don't know why. They ride like absolute lumber wagons. That being said, what exactly is a lumber wagon? Must be some like old wooden wagon that they crossed the country with that was made out of wood wagon. They call it a lumber wagon? I don't know. his Ford, we're not doing it in ours. All right, it's been like a mile since our last update, and I got no complaints. The steer's good, it doesn't wander all over. The idle is obviously a little bit high, but the carburetor's not acting up and spitting and coughing and sputtering. I think it's all pretty minor things that we need to fix. Speedo cable, muffler, turn the idle down. Drivetrain wise, it seems pretty solid. We'll see. Put a few more miles on it. But you know how it goes. The temp gauge is not going up. Fuel gauge does go down, so that must be working. Hopefully we don't run out of gas. Watch out for the deer. Duff is tuned in on it. There she goes. Here's her fawn at, waiting to run into us. Don't want to dent the old Ford up. I can't believe how straight this thing is. It's pretty good for a 3/4 ton. Surprisingly, the exhaust noise isn't that bad going down the road. Maybe we just had to get the old thrush warmed up. It's definitely empty. Oh, it just sounds terrible at an idle. That's what it is. The ducks and geese are here. Spring is just around the corner. Well, we really got a whistling window now. This one's got more of a rattle. Duff, rooster, your side. All the wildlife tonight. Get out of the way, buddy, or you're gonna end up in my nice grill. Might be a good fall. Gonna get some birds this fall, Duff? Hopefully. Should probably check the diffs in the transfer case and the transmission for fluid as well before we get too crazy and drive this thing across the country. Oh yeah, we gotta bolt the bed down too, before that flies off. Must really like that thick oil. Oil pressure is down to 20 psi at cruising speed, so I'm sure it's even lower at an idle. It's interesting. I've never seen something with such high pressure when it's cold would drop off that far. They must have had the real thick stuff in there, some 2050 racing oil or 1540. Oh, I was wondering where the draft's coming from. The vent is open over here. Oh yeah. Way warmer now. Let's get a little nipply done. Can't believe this tranny doesn't scratch going through the gears at all or nothing. It's a good 435. What are the gears it's got? I'm guessing 410s, but maybe she's got some 373s in her. Can't really tell without a speedometer or a tack. Alright, let's run her in the shop and address a few issues. The old green machine didn't do too bad. We got a few things we got to fix. Let's get this thing up in the air and measure the exhaust diameter, see if we can't scrounge up a used muffler laying out back, throw in there, because that exhaust is absolutely horrendous. Just show them what we found, Duff, out in the old muffler pile. Had to bring two of them because they're welded together. I'm pretty sure these came off the old motor home. I don't know if they were dragging or what, but anyway, we got them now. Let's go ahead and harvest a muffler off them. Might even gain some good hangers and clamps too. What a deal. This is terrible. Some of the best exhaust that we've ever seen on a vehicle was on a motorhome. And then we cut it apart. Good thing I saved it though. All right, 1 2¼ inch muffler harvested. This should be a nice quiet one. She's a big dog. Now we gotta get this poor burned out thrush out of here. I think we just take this clamp off and that clamp back there and should come right out. What is that doing? We're just gonna forget that we saw that. You know, instead of wasting our time beating on this thing with a hammer, we should just cut it off right there. Because our new muffler is way longer. Yeah, sound like a good idea? All right, talk me into it. Oh, you can see where the muffler should be. It's got this heat shield right here. We're silly. It's like the perfect length too. Yay for motorhomes. See, the beauty of putting the muffler where it should be is there's a hanger already in place, so we're just gonna take that bolt out, put a new hanger up there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Keep your exhaust factory, kids. guys. Perfect. There we go. Slide our nice used hanger up there. Follow that up with a used exhaust clamp. It's a round muffler, but it's got a little bit of an offset on each end, so I'm gonna spin it 180 degrees. That way the muffler is sitting up higher. Now we just gotta snug everything up. Looking pretty good if I don't say so myself. Now we just need to put ourselves a little turn down that comes off here, so we'll put a clamp there, and then we'll clamp to this mess of an exhaust hanger too, I guess, and then turn it down so that it doesn't hit our differential, which you can tell by the soot on there is what it's been doing in the past. Oh yeah, that's gonna be way better than it was. Oh, check this goodness out. And all it cost me was some 3/8 hardware and a hanger. This was their old galvanized swing set material. Use that clamp off the motorhome. Use muffler off the motorhome. Use tailpipe off the motorhome. Use clamp off the motorhome. And a new hanger and some hardware. Good and sturdy. It's the perfect length, literally, for that protector. And it should be a whole heck of a lot quieter. And if it ain't, we got one more muffler to use up. So much better than the old Thrush we took off. Those were the coolest looking mufflers though. They had the cool logo. The Thrush guy on there, what's he called? Not Mr. Horsepower. They're different, but the same. They did use an actual turn down on there. Rammed her in there with a couple of self-tappers. Not the worst work I've seen. I mean, it's still way better than most of the stuff I see in Oklahoma. All right, now we'll have to fire it up and see how she sounds. But that's a tomorrow job because it's dark 30, so time to shut her down. See you guys tomorrow. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Let's see how this thing sounds this morning. We'll even put you guys way over here by our single tailpipe. Oh man, that sounds way better, doesn't it? All right, let's get this ignition switch slid back in the dash so it's not hanging there to look like we stole this thing so we don't get pulled over and end up in jail again. How does this come apart? Is that on thread? Perfect. Why didn't the last guy do this? That's what I wonder. Something screwed up, or are they just lazy? Got in a rush? Okay, there's a notch there. Where's the notch at? It's the bottom. When you use a screwdriver to tighten this bezel up, there's a special 3-prong socket that I wish I had. It's similar to the socket that you use for tightening up antennas. Oh, for cheese and rice. This isn't gonna work. You know, I said I was gonna use a screwdriver. I'm using the Nip-X. I'm gonna scratch the crap out of it. There we go. Much better. Now it doesn't look like a theft recovery. I wonder what these random wires are for. CB radio, maybe? Oh, cigarette lighter. We'll just tuck those up there. We don't need that. While we're in here, let's clean this thing out and go through the mess of parts that are in here and put them back in their respective places or throw them away or whatever it is. Somebody got a new DeWalt 18-volt drill. I think these are those speakers. Ooh, Pioneer dual cone 80-watt TS6922s. I think those are going right in the trash. Here's our taillights with hardware inside. How nice of him to tape the holes shut, put the hardware in there. They even labeled them right rear and left rear because I don't think they're interchangeable. Battery hold down, complete with corrosion. What's this guy? Big piece of trim? Does that go on the dash from left to right? What is that? It's the width of the entire cab. The headliner? Oh yeah. Maybe? Can't go on the outside of the pickup. I don't know my dent side Fords, but I know them well enough that that doesn't go outside the pickup. Headlight retaining ring. Other tail light. Oh boy. Dang it, there's the mirror, but somebody got the little, I call it a magnet, even though it's not magnetic, the little piece of metal you glue to the windshield, that's missing. We're gonna need that to glue that back on. Tail light harness. What else? Graduates Puffs cereal snack. Windshield retainer bolts. Windshield retainer bolts. Is that what that last piece I took off was for? Does that go around the top? I bet it does. Oh, cheese and rice. That's new to me. It says bolts, but I bet they're screws. Sure enough. I'm gonna try to fish this back out. Well, that's the strangest thing I ever seen. Let's get a screwdriver and put that back in place. All right, here we go. Good grief. 3, 4, 7, 11 bolts holding this thing in. Screws, I mean. That is about 8 too many. There we go, one windshield retainer installed. Well, I got a headlight, but we're missing the bucket. Somebody apparently stole the headlight and the bucket out of this thing. And so now we got no way to mount that in place, unfortunately. Saved to use one out of the 85 Ford F-150 because we put some silly LED ones in that thing because we had them. That pickup's long gone. That was a good pickup. 85 Ford, half-ton, four-wheel drive, overdrive. I think it was fuel injected. 5 liter? That's unfortunate. Looks a lot better with 2 headlights. Why do people got to do silly things? Guess we'll lift it up and put the taillight harness in and put those lights in instead. I'm having a hard time finding where the taillight harness comes and we plug them all together. I got it up in the fuel tank and then it's like it's hidden behind it. Because why wouldn't it be? Oh, there it is. Well, this is disappointing. Bullet connectors. Yay. Which is essentially what Ford had from the factory. It was one big connector instead of 5 small ones, 4 small ones. All right, we'll get this hooked up and hopefully get some lights working. They're not gonna work, but they'll fill the hole and all the wiring's in place for the next guy. Easy enough, yellow to yellow, brown to brown, green to green, black to black. All right, I'm guessing the shorter leg goes this way and the longer leg goes that way. Definitely should have routed this through there from the other direction. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Yeah, there's what I'm working with. Unfortunately, I can't get in there from the backside, so this should be great. Oh, they did a little rust repair there as well. What a deal. Looky here, though. We gained a free vice grip. Actual vice grip. It's one of the newer Irwin ones, so not nearly as good. But any day where you get a free 5WR is a good day. Maybe we can fish these through the hole and then grab them through the taillight. Let's see. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This taillight harness is a disaster, but that was nice of them to tape all the sockets up like they were going to paint it or something. Used to be able to get these taillight harnesses from LMC for a Chevy anyway for like 60 bucks. Ain't even worth your time to try to patch them. I suppose we're gonna have to find some bulbs. Ooh, this has got a new socket. You can tell by how it's significantly less yellowed. It's got 3 wires going to it, so that's for an 1157 bulb, so a dual filament. 2 wires going to that one, so that's an 1156 single element. Well, these should be a real treat to fish out of there. Come on, one more bulb to go. There. So our single element is for our backup light because that only lights up clear. And our dual element is for our tails and turn signal, or brakes and tail lights. Got a teeny little tiny ground strap we got to hook up in here for both the marker light and the tail light. What are the odds we can coerce that into place without dropping the hardware? Got it. One down, one to go. And the marker bulb is a 194. Another single element because your marker light doesn't flash when you hit the brakes or the turn signals. Oh yeah, that looks way better. I wish we had the tailgate. I bet it's around somewhere, seeing how they tape these up. Usually, if you don't have a tailgate, people take this linkage off and throw it away. So, dang it. Hopefully somebody didn't make a bench out of it. Let's grab some bolts and bolt this down. I think they're either 7/16 or 1/2" carriage bolts. Let me dig through my stash, see what we got. If we got to put a regular bolt in there, we can. We got to have at least 4 in there. I think there's 2 up front. I hope there's 2 up front. But we should have 1 in each corner at least. You don't want your bed flying off your 3/4 ton. That is for sure.
Electors in 1986.
Wish we could have found the marker lights in the cab too, and the gas doors. Dang it. So now we just need gas doors, marker lights, tailgate, matching wheel, ashtray. Getting there. Getting a list going. Headliner. Oh well, what do you expect for 700 bucks? My carriage head bolt selection isn't that great, especially on larger stuff, 7/16 and bigger. So we're just gonna use some regular 1/2" bolts and my favorite serrated locking flange nuts and some 1/2" washers. It's gonna be better than it was. Go to your hole.
Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Now in theory, I go underneath and put these serrated flange nuts on there, get them finger snug, let her back down, come up top, hit them with the impact, and I don't need a second person to hold these things. That's the theory. Scratch that. 3 out of the 4 don't want to thread on very well, so it's going to be a 2-man job. So I'm getting older, and I'm all about running boards because they save on seats and they save on your back and slips and trips and falls and all that, but they look a lot cooler without them. And since we're missing the one on the other side, we're going to make it match. Instead of going and trying to find a mate to it, let's just rip the old Weston running board off of this side and swap it out with absolutely nothing. Looks like it's just bolted to the sheet metal anyway. Ooh, it's got new hardware. 3 screws there, and then a bunch on the pinch weld. And then it looks like we got 3 more bolted to the front fender. Those ones might be fun. Worst case scenario, we cut them off with the grinder. Let's start with these since they're probably gonna be the difficult ones. Of course it just spins. Snap off, perfect. It's like I knew what was gonna happen. Got it. Running board delete complete. I can't stand these DD Speed Shop bubblegum welds, so let's clean this up a bit. Oh yeah, way better. Some pretty shoddy body work, but DD Speed Shop, he'll show up and mud it in, make it real nice. They definitely should have stepped that before they installed it, or at least butt welded it. You can't just lap that stuff. And don't put it that close to the belt line. Come on, guys. Duff says while you're at it, fix this tomfoolery. All right, let's sand the asbestos down as best as we can. That's right, I do own body tools. I got a DA with some 80 grit on it. See what happens. Oh yeah, definitely tastes like asbestos. that we got our surfaces prepped for paint, let's blow the dust off. We're ready to shoot this stuff with the finest aerosol in the closest color I could find. If you guessed this pickup was vintage teal, give yourself a pat on the back. Oh, not even close. Just the way we like it. If you close your eyes, it's really not that bad. They really botched that one. They even put so much heat in there that it bubbled out the bedside. Ah, some people's kids. Oh, you can't even tell. You've been huffing as much paint as I have. Speaking of paint, this one black rim just looks out of place with our white bumper and 3 other white wheels. So let's pop this off of there so we don't get a bunch of white overspray on our hub here and paint this up when we're painting. The paint booth is open for business at Mortske Repair. Whole ray over here doubles as a paint booth as well. This is kind of a shame because it's probably the nicest wheel in the whole thing. You know we're not complete hacks like Dan at DD Speed Shop, so we're gonna do one up instead of not taping the tire off like he would do. We're gonna dismount this thing because by the time I tape this thing off, I could have just as well thrown it on the tire machine and popped her loose. Don't be a damn. I am gonna tape the valve stem off though. Because we're on a budget, we can't afford a new one. We're gonna lose the shop for sure. Tech tip of the day, don't tape up the valve stem. You gotta take it out in order to dismount the tire. Oh, now we can put the white letter in. Make it way more gooder and matching. A little Rust-Oleum pure white will do the trick. If you really want to do her upright, get out your pinstripe and paintbrush, put that wheel on there, spin her around, and put the red and blue stripes on it. Really church her up. Oh yeah, I should tape off that valve stem. So now what do we call this? Instead of a white spoke, it's a white mod, or a white hole, or a white modular. Who knows? Matching, that's what I call it.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
While the paint's drying on that rim, let's go ahead and stick some marker lights in here. Chin went out back and dug through our stash. We got a 73 to 77 out back. It's got the round headlights, so it didn't have the bucket that we needed. But anyway, he got some marker lights. The tailgate was already tacoed in half, so not much of a donor for this project. There you go, way better. Really ties that bed corner together, dude.
That rug really tied the room together, did it not?
I wonder what color this was originally. It's kind of a light minty green. Super cool color. Maybe Chin can find it and list it down here. I like it. That's the color I would have bought if I'd have bought a new one. Or Calypso Coral, like the orange 71 Ford F100 I got. I like that color. Calypso Coral. Isn't it orange? Or Caribbean turquoise. That's what the Bronco is, the 66 Bronco. I don't believe you could get that color in a Denside, however. Comment your favorite Ford Denside color below. Two-tone. Makes it so much better. It's gotta be two-tone. You gonna mount that thing up without scuffing the rim? Yeah, I don't think I can either. Even with thumbs. We'll give her a whirl though. I'd love to put some brand new chrome lug nuts on here from Lug Nuts guys, but it wasn't in the budget this week. Got a quick turnaround here, so they weren't able to get us in. Just kidding, I didn't even ask them, but Some fresh lug nuts and some fresh chrome center caps really set this thing off. As I was mounting that 265 75 16, I remembered that this thing had a 235 85 on it. Yes, you don't want to have a 235 85 on one side and a 265 75 on the other. You want to have matching tires all the way around. It's hard on differentials. Speaking of differentials, let's see if we can't figure out what gear ratio this differential's got. Lucky for us, it looks like the tag is still present. These things should be like tags on mattresses and carburetors. It should be illegal to take them off of there. Unfortunately, it's so rusty I can't read any numbers on it. Well, that's no fun. Oh crud. I was hoping we'd get to figure out what gear ratio it's got. We lucked out, there's one on the front differential, and guess what it's got? 354s. That's pretty much unheard of for a 3/4 ton four-wheel drive, as far as I'm concerned. So those are some pretty good highway gears if you want to drive this thing up and down the road. About as good as you're gonna get. I don't know if they even made a 323 or a 308 or anything like that. It's pretty much always 373s, 410s, 456s. It's almost always 410s. Once in a while, 373s. It also says D9 on the tag, so that's a 79 differential. So maybe it's a 79 chassis with a 78 cab on it. If this thing could talk, it's got some stories to tell, apparently. All right, let's get a look at this thing out in the daylight, huh, Duff? Looks good, he says. Looks good. He wants to go for a ride. Look at the paint match on the wheels. Not so much on the old bedsides there, but this thing, if you spent a little bit of time and did a little bit better paint matching than I did, found a couple of gas doors, get some matching tires, get some matching wheels, found a tailgate. Price and availability in the video description. We'll also list it at mortske.com. We'll give it a couple days, and then we're going to throw it on the Bookface marketplace, and we'll deal with all the mouth breathers on there. And someday we'll make a video of documenting dealing with all these people, because there is some special ones out there, but this thing's got to go. And she's ready to tow. Yeah, find a tailgate, fix a little bit of rust yet there, and maybe the bottoms of the doors if you really wanted to. But personally, I would have just left this thing as it was. Needs an antenna, get the radio working, throw a headliner in it. We never did test the four-wheel drive, Duff. I'm sure it works fine. Everything under there looks good. Needs a headlight bucket, needs a windshield. Find a windshield for this thing. Well, mechanically, this thing's good. The 400 pops right off. It didn't seem to leak in the shop. The clutch is good. 4-speed doesn't make any noise. Transfer case doesn't make any noise. The diffs didn't check any of that stuff for fluid, so you might want to do that. But here's the problem. This thing does not have a title. So if you want to own this thing and you want to use it as parts, or you got a way to get a title, or you got a way to put plates on it that I'm not aware of, your secret is safe with me. Pretty sure it's not stolen. I paid for it. I don't know what the last guy did, but anyway, this thing would be a really good project. I love these dent side Fords. I think they're far superior to the square body Chevys. Don't tell anybody I said that, but the cabs are tighter, the doors shut better, the latches are better. The only thing that sucks is the interchangeability. Like, you can't interchange anything between a 400 and an inline 6 and a 302, and then heaven forbid you got 390s involved and 360s and 460s and all the 60s. But anyway, this thing's, she's pretty good. The cab is tight. Oh, you got to find a door panel. I would put some window seals in it if you're going to drive it a lot. Throw some carpet in it. I'd find a bench seat because I'm not a bucket guy. Put a bench seat in it, maybe a headliner, dome light cover. Put that new windshield in it, and then stick a mirror on it. Like I said, get the radio working, maybe put a Bluetooth AM, FM in there. Inside, if you put a seat and a carpet in this thing, got the radio working, she'd be pretty good. Does the horn work? Oh yeah. You just got to touch it in the right spot. Okay, it worked once. But anyway, some wheels and tires, and find some matching paint and some gas doors and a tailgate, and you'd be well on your way. I love this color. It's got a good look to it. I don't even hate the white letters, but you got to have some big knobbies on there. She looks good, the old F250 Custom Slash Ranger. Oh yeah, we need some wiper arms. Got to have those for all the driving in the rain, right, Duff? And the snow and all that good stuff. You're probably going to want to check the lights too, and bleed the rear brakes, and lube up the speedo cable because I didn't find time to do that. But anyway, we left plenty of work for you when you come pick this thing up. So hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. Price and availability in the video description. This is a fun one, just a couple of days messing around, a little grinding, a little painting, a little reassembling stuff like bolting the bed on and putting the marker lights in and the tail lights in, and painting a rim. Ooh, we put a fuel pump on it and a muffler and a tailpipe. We made this thing so much better. It's actually a really good pickup. Kind of hate to see it go, but as you can see, we got 56 Chevys and Unibodies and 57 Fords and 67 Camaros and 59 Fords and 59 Chevys and 59 Pontiacs and a crappy international school bus. Duff, any Jackie Chan sightings today? No, he's out doing ninja cat things during the day. We don't see him much. One of these days we will get him on the camera. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Go check out the merch at mortske.com. We got all the cars listed there for sale. We got ball caps, we got beanie caps, we got hoodies, we got crew necks, we got flannels, we got some Hawaiian shirts coming down the pipeline. We got posters showing all of our million view video cars. We got banners, we got magnetic koozies, we got magnetic screwdrivers, we got flashlights, we got stream lights, the best lights ever. That say get lit, Mortske Repair, personalize. These are my favorite lights. I've been using them for years. You too can get one. What else do I use that you guys could use? Super scrapers. We got them in stock. Head on over there. These things don't last long. The shelves are full, so get them all you can. So head on over to mortske.com and check out the merch that we got there. Really appreciate it. Duff appreciates it. DB, Chin, me, Mickelson, Mojo, Jackie Chan now. We all appreciate it. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this stuff. So thank you very much for watching. Come by a pickup or some other junk that we got listed for sale. We'll have some other stuff coming down the pipeline, but I gotta head out. We got some weather coming in. By the time this video comes out, I'll have already been there, but I gotta head to Portland to the swap meet. So I got about 22 hours of driving, and we're taking an old crappy pickup. So hopefully that makes it there. If not, we'll get a story to tell. But anyway, it doesn't matter how you get it done so long as you are having fun. These quick flips are fun, especially when you don't flip them over on their lid, and hopefully we get it flipped and put a few bucks in our pocket, because I feel like we price our things accordingly, and we gotta make a living doing this. So if we don't, then I guess we gotta go back to working at Dollar General or Casey's flipping pizzas, and you guys don't want to see me flipping pizzas or touching your food or ringing you up, because I can't count change. All right, on to the next one. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done as long as you're having fun. Flips, they're fun.